Hey.
Heyo.
Hello. Welcome
Hi,
aboard,
everyone.
everybody. This is the Tabletop Express, and this is Call Aboard, our What's on Your Table edition that we do at the end of every single month, where we find out what you played this month. Guys, I'm sorry I'm not there with you. I'm protecting you just in case I have some stuff. I don't think I do. I think I'm okay.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us. Distance. Keep that distance.
No, I think I'm okay. But we're playing it safe, as I say. But if you first and foremost, for anyone who has not joined an episode of Call Aboard before, just so you know what is Call Aboard, it's our live call-in show where you're part of a show. You happen to catch, if you're catching this one, the episode where we talk every month about the games we played in the past month. So that's what On Your Table is all about. My name's Chris, and over in the studio,
I'm Anthony.
And I'm Ryan. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. This is our freeform episode. So
yeah,
you can
no holds barred.
Oh, I mean, there's some bars to hold.
Oh.
You know, we try to be as friendly as possible. Whoa.
See what I can do with all this elbow room and barrows isn't here?
It's nice, right?
It is.
you make it sound like I take up a lot of space over
Well,
there.
we put your chair facing the wall.
You're in the dinkus corner.
Just so you know.
I appreciate it, guys.
Were you right for the line?
It's exciting, though. We came in today and we had callers ready to go, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I just want to say.
It's how you know you made it big, man.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. People
We got a
lining up at the
Discord.
door.
We have, some weirdos call in.
We
and
got
then
over
now we have
600 subs.
dedicated. Yeah, over 600.
Yes, and that was exciting this week. So that was pretty cool. That was your birthday gift. Because for my birthday, I wanted to hit 500. For your birthday, we hit 600.
So we had a fun birthday party, by the way. We had a Halloween birthday party in June. Yeah, Summerween.
Yes.
So it was fun. My son picked out the party, and he keeps asking me about coming on to the show at some point. So
Oh yeah, okay,
mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
We've
probably
talked about a
Sunday.
kids Saturday episode of some sort, or something,
Saturday afternoon,
something like Saturday morning, type
Yeah.
episode. Play some games with the kids,
I hear
So,
ya.
I don't know. What do you think, though? Why don't we bring in our first caller? What do you think?
So I'll bring them in 3. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Ta-da!
Hey, how we doing?
Technically, it's a
Hi.
first-time
Happy
caller.
summer.
Caller.
I'm a first-time caller.
Yes, you are.
That's right. That counts.
Yeah,
Long time chat person though, and
Mhm.
Discord member.
no question there.
Currently
Nick.
lake housing. Is that what that says? I hope. Lake
Yeah.
housing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's a verb. Yep.
Family vacation, taking some time off to call in.
Good for you.
Awesome.
Good for you.
Love it. How is the lake house treating you? Pretty well, I take it.
Oh yeah, great. Weather's
Yeah.
been awesome. Plenty of water sports, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Kids are having a good time. A couple of board games on the table,
Yeah.
and the 3 that we'll talk about tonight are all that we played this week so far.
Oh wow,
Oh, man.
perfect. Fresh in the mind.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
So I guess
Well, why don't we talk about what one do you want to start with?
well,
Do
go
you want to do?
the one we just played earlier.
Yeah.
So first one we did was Flamecraft.
Heard
Yeah.
a bunch about this game, so we wanted to get it to the table, but we had not played it yet. So
Yep. So we just played this one like 2 hours ago.
Nice.
Oh wow, that is fresh. That's a very fresh take.
yeah, it was really fun. It was neat because man, this game is so stinking cute. All I can think of is I want to play with my niece. Like this is very entry level as soon as you actually get to the table. But we did have to work out a few of the rules a little bit.
Yeah, misread a couple things.
A little
but
bit of an asterisk, but it was really fun.
Oh,
It's got a nice neoprene mat lays out, and you got
That
all these
is
cute
nice,
little
yeah.
dragons that you got to try and visit the shop and build up the shop.
Yep.
I don't have that version. That's pretty
Oh,
nice.
that's real
That's
nice.
the blingy.
sorry.
That's blinged out.
Listen,
Yeah.
our
The
people-
standard version is pretty nice though too. The regular,
Yeah.
the regular
Yes.
dragons are not bad.
See, that looks like blinged out components.
Is the playmat default to the regular version, or is the
It's a
playmat?
neoprene mat, actually. It's
That's standard. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Let's see if I can go to recent. How about that? Recent pictures, probably.
Well, that's a lot better. I've noticed a lot of times when I see Flamecraft, it is a deluxeified version. It seems like they sold a lot of a deluxeified version, but oh wow, okay, that is a great map.
It's a big map.
It was a little bit of a table hog. I wasn't ready for that, but and it was a close game too. That was really nice. Like it was a pretty tight game. Yeah.
She ended up winning. They got these fancy dragons.
Yeah.
And they have either play them once and they count right then and there.
During the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or they got the moon version ones where they count at the end of the game, and she ended up sneaking out at the end with the win.
But the best part, he was like 8 points ahead, and he was like, it's your turn. And then we ended up tying, and he ended up winning technically with
the second tiebreaker.
Yeah, we had to go to tiebreakers. And then I went out to the deck with my dad, and I'm thinking about it. I was like, wait. I was like, I ran into the room and I was like, I had a moon dragon, and I win. It's in.
Wow, what's the statute of limitations on that win? How long did it take you to realize that?
So statute is not within 10 minutes. It was the first one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Asterisk, but I won. It was really fun.
Great.
So definitely, again, we're going to get back on the table again.
Yeah, now that we know how to play the rules, we had to.
I've played this one. This game is really fun, and to your point, there's like it's not too complex, but there's like just a couple of extra things that make it maybe slightly above that entry level, like where I would waver on it, depending on the person who I was going to teach it to. But it is a ton of fun. Artwork's cool, and the shops are all like thematically and like punny names to them. It's really
Draco
cute.
Bell.
It's cute. Yeah.
That was on there. Yeah.
That's one of the starting shops.
And there's a ton of those shops. You're not going to go through all of them in a game. So they don't.
We actually didn't even get all of them on the table.
Yeah.
We didn't fill all the slots. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of those, a lot of the dragons. There's a few of the regular dragons are going to repeat after a while, but you don't see all the stuff in one or two plays of this game, which I do like.
Would you describe it as like family weight plus, like that just slightly above, like, or because I've heard it's a light game, but I've also heard there's enough rules, like you're both saying that it's just a little bit more. So
it was more we just misunderstood some of the rules. As soon as we understood the rules, they're very doable, but I think we misunderstood a couple of them. Yeah.
But, so now that we know it, I don't see any reason why like my 10-year-old couldn't play this game.
Yeah. I immediately thought my niece would love this game because the dragons are cute and it was very doable. Not a lot of like on your play. You also don't have a lot of things that you can do, but there's options within the board. Like, I don't know.
Honestly, the little player guide card is pretty straightforward and it helps you through it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Do you
it's more an us problem. But, yeah.
Do you see a lot of replayability with it after your first play? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you've got the starter shops, which there's like 6, I think. One for each of the resource materials. And then I think in the deck itself, there's probably 3 or 4 for each material, plus another like 10 wild card ones almost.
Okay.
And you mix them up and you deal a hand every time you play a game.
Nice.
So your 6 starter shops might always be the same. And I don't see any reason why you couldn't actually mix up and go to more complicated ones down the road.
Yeah. This made your top 10, I believe, of the year, right? When it came out, right? 2022.
Definitely. Yep. And I did see a lot of these at PAX that year. And there was a lot of the deluxe versions that were still selling, but I don't know. Again, I looked at it as for the regular version, you get a really decent piece of production here. And then, if you want to upgrade in the future, if you love it that much, then, that's I
think BGG Market actually has a really good one of those Geek Up options.
Oh, they have Geek Up bits?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, Anthony, you own this?
I do, yeah. We can play this.
We got to play this.
It was super
I've
cute.
heard enough about this, and it still has not been. I've still not played it, so I need to play
best with 3.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
I
think I played this at 5, and it didn't drag out.
Yeah,
and it was probably at least 3 or 4 people's first play of it at the time as well.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, that's what put me off of it, to be honest, because I felt like the weight of it wasn't really saying $70 board game to me,
that's a
but
lot.
now it's like at 35, right? How much you get yours for?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look. I got it on a deal on Amazon. I think it was like $25.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, no brainer. Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like the right price. It also felt like one that didn't need the deluxification for me
Yeah.
to enjoy it. So
It was quality,
that retail version seems like it's fine.
Oh yeah.
All right, next one.
Good
Yeah.
pick. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, bring it
So
on.
I'm relatively new to board gaming. So I'm still like trying to figure out what type of games I know I'm gonna like. And I haven't yet really done like a crowdfunded game. So this was the first one that I did, and it finally came in. It's called License to Grill.
Oh man,
I really like tile placement type games and worker placement. And this one was more like you had to manage your food as you're cooking it. And you get really attached to the things that you're cooking. And when someone burns it, it was just really thematic. I felt like it worked really well.
I didn't really care that my mom burnt my wall.
Oh, he was mad. Don't let him. No, don't let him fool you. He was so mad.
I was more mad I had to take the walleye.
Yeah. But it was a really neat game, and it worked perfect for the lake house. And man, the box that it came in, it was so organized. I feel like I have to show you the box. So
yeah. Let me change the camera view. Hang on. I'll bring it on full screen.
Ha. Okay. So you have to place your tiles on this piece, but this is the actual inside of the box. And then what's really neat is each of these folds up, and it will store all your recipes and all the different pieces for the game, which is really neat. So yeah, it stores all the different pieces.
Very
and it was just really thought out. So when you compare it to things like Barron Park, which just throws in triangles for polynomials,
yeah, that's
like so that was
the lowest.
And it was also a quick game, right? So we got it to the table, we learned it really quick. And it was just, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, so the way that this game ends is the first person to complete 4 recipes. And like on your turn, you're allowed the 2 actions. And I don't know if they show any of like the recipe cards. You got the prep time. So you can, during the prep time, you're allowed to season it. And then you've got the grill time, where you're allowed to actually put it onto the grill. The red is the meat, the green is the veggies.
Yep, and yellow is, and it has a mixture of both. So you can put it on either side of the grill.
Yeah, there you go. So if you can kind of zoom in, you can see those. And then you're allowed to sauce stir in that time too. So you get extra points for your recipes. So like the chicken skewers, you don't want to have it in your prep area and season it twice. You throw it on the grill and you want to let it eat for a little bit so you get the 3 points.
Yep.
Sauce it once, and then you got to serve it immediately.
But what's nice is that everyone, when you put something on the grill, they can change the heat. So what happened to Marcel's walleye is that my mom was like, oh, well, I really want it to be really hot so I can do my recipe. She cranked up the heat. And then all of a sudden, Marcel has no control of the grill, and it's way too hot in his recipe.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was really quick, but thematic. And I was really proud of some of the things that I cooked on tiles that were cardboard. And so I know it was fun. It was quick. It was a good game.
That's an interesting way to have interaction, though. The fact that there's things out of your control. So it's a little bit of take that happening. But
that's stressful.
And your actions are directly impacting how else someone will score.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can only change the grill knobs by 1 though.
Yes.
So you go from like 1 to 2 to 2 to 3.
Okay.
So
So
when it
it's
comes
not
back to your turn.
sabotage. Okay.
It's not overkill then.
It's a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder, you would probably like this.
You know,
I have to agree
I'm
with
a
Tyler.
charcoal
This
guy,
is
though.
pretty
That sounds
cool.
very propane to me. I'm not going to lie.
Just
That's
crank until
okay.
11. Let's go. It's just char. It's fine.
There it is. You know. No, I definitely want to try. I definitely wanted to try it out. Plus,
Maybe she'll let me borrow it in August.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, we
It was
will
so
be seeing Marcel in
straightforward.
August. So,
Well, actually,
you know,
very important question. Did you actually barbecue today as well, too?
Nope. They did
We
tacos today.
Taco
I did-
Tuesday on what day is it?
Yeah,
Is it
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
No, I did steak and cheeses last night on the griddle.
Okay. I feel like you got to barbecue with this.
Oh, I'm doing smash burgers tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
there we go. Well, you got one more game.
Yeah,
By the way.
last one, and I know
Just honorable mention because it was so fun.
Espen's gonna like this one. Rear Window.
Understatement. Love that.
Fantastic game.
Yeah.
And I liked it enough. I went and watched the movie.
Yep.
How good was it?
I loved it. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
so good.
No, that was good because even my mom and my sister-in-law were like, man, just the conversations that were happening, that was such a fun game. And then after, when Marcel was like, no, look here and here and here, it's that kind of game that you're like, okay, I need to try one more time. Like let's play this, wrap it, let's do it again. It was really fun.
Yeah, I played the director and they're just talking through. And at one point they hit on like 2 of the 3 things. And I'm like, oh, don't change it.
Yeah.
And then they changed
We
it.
changed it. Yeah.
We changed it. I've been there. And then it's like hearing you guys like looking at a single card and overanalyzing a single card.
The overanalyzation on some of these cards was amazing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
The cards are so well designed in that sense though, because sometimes you need to indicate that it's like this person, but there's something else in the room that completely throws it off. And I had talked to you a little bit on the Discord about this, Marcel, but one of the things I think I've said, Ryan has said, it's very much a Mysterium killer for me, which I hate to say about any.
That's exactly what Marcel said.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of
Yeah.
Mysterium.
Yeah, and I hate to say that about a game. I will only say it in a scenario where I really truly feel that. But yeah, when you said to me, I was like, wow, I like it. This is the problem. The scary thing is, I feel like is not scary, but you're paying double for Mysterium when this game was $18 the other day. You know, so it's like, I'm with you. This copy that I just got, by the way, was because I knew Ryan probably wasn't going to get rid of his anytime soon. I was like, I need to own a copy of it.
And even if I do, like, it's probably just going to go to one of you guys.
Yeah.
And to me, with this game too, I love the little tray that it comes with that all the pieces are neatly placed into. And the fact to me is this game was so much easier to set up and play than Mysterium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it does the same thing, but better.
Yeah.
Plus, Mysterium does that weird thing. Like, if you play it with the Mysterium, like, because there was the original one.
Yeah.
And then the North American one added like this like point system.
Oh,
yeah.
That takes me out of it completely. Like,
honestly, I have it on Steam, so if I need to play it, I'll play it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we liked, I will say, when we played it and when we talked about this game, we played it where Anthony and I were a team and Ryan was the director. And I loved it at 3. It could potentially work at 4 with the right amount, but that 3 was such a nice number for me.
I
with
think
this
even
one.
2 could work.
Yeah.
This could work fantastically at 2.
Yeah.
Which you could never do with Mysterium, as far as I'm concerned. So it wins in a lot of different ways, but that's the easiest comparison. I'm glad to hear you watched the movie too, though, because
the movie was great. Perfect Lake House movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's my second favorite Hitchcock for sure. First is Psycho, and then RearWindow, and then probably Rope. Rope is really good.
I think I prefer RearWindow.
Yeah. Well,
all right, well, that's all we got.
In.
That's an awesome list.
Yeah.
Not
good
all
list of
week.
games. Kick us off. And do you have the whistle? Because it's the first time caller. Someone's got to blow the whistle.
I mean, you put your germs on it though.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You just
we don't share
Like,
whistles.
there you go. You have to make it with. I should just carry the whistle with me, unless you don't trust me. But yeah. Well, look, Marcel, Kristen, thanks for calling in. Awesome to hear these choices and a good representation of what anyone else can do. The thing I would remind people, if you have never called in before, just make sure that you are a member of Discord. I had dropped that in the chat, but you can join our Discord and just say hello in our call aboard section. We do ask that just to verify your humanity. It's kind of important for us with this show, being a live show, but call-board.com. And with that, we will see you in the comments.
Later.
Bye.
Hi, guys.
Brian Chandler's right, by the way. Rope is a masterpiece. I can go on about Hitchcock. There's so many good Hitchcock movies.
What do you think is the next best
Board game
implementation of a Hitchcock movie that doesn't exist?
Is there anything?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could gamify a lot. I mean, North by Northwest, you can gamify a lot as like a 1v all kind of game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're trying to run away from like the baddies and everyone else can be the baddie, you know? You could even do Strangers on a Train, could be pretty cool, where the guys like have to like exchange murders. Yeah.
Oh, that's like Throw Mama from the train, right? Yeah.
Throw Mama off the train was from was from Strangers on a Train. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Rope, I don't know.
I never saw Rope.
Rope, maybe.
Vertigo?
No, Vertigo, I don't think it would be a great game.
Psycho,
I don't think it would be a great game. I could be wrong. Give Prospero Hall the reins, and who knows? You know?
Yeah. Well, as we mentioned, can be part of a show called usherboard.com. In the meantime, we'll kick off some of the games that we have played, and I'll take the moment to also note we will be reviewing one game tonight. We have a few other games that will pop into next month's because we have a few more plays we want to get in about some of those games. But tonight we are going to be reviewing ForNorthwood.
No, sorry. ForNorthwood.
Oh, it has the exclamation mark. All right. Yeah. Sorry. There we go. So
a solo trick-taking game. It's in parentheses, that part. We'll whisper parentheses for now. You know?
Yeah, it is all lowercase as well.
It's all lowercase.
You would whisper it. Yeah.
There you go.
But what's on your list, guys? I mean, I can start by bringing up one that I played. I mentioned this in the past, but I had not actually played it. I sat down and got a chance to play this with the family this month, and that is KingdominoOrigins.
Ooh.
So this was one that I had picked up. I forgot even what it was that caught my eye about Origins, but as you can see there, it goes back to the prehistoric times, but it essentially comes with a variety of different ways to play. And one of the first key differences in this one is that you're going to have cards that are going to have these different kind of animals on them. In addition, you're going to see these volcanoes. And what's cool about the volcanoes is the fire is your multiplier in this one. And when you get a volcano, when you place it down, the fire is going to move, and based on if it's got 1, 2, or 3 of the kind of volcanic the places where the volcano can erupt from will impact how far the fire is going to move. The cool thing about this is the fact that the fire is going to also spread. And if you have animals on any tiles that it goes over, it is going to take out the animals, which are worth points. There's also a module where, based on the amount of things you have, you're able to collect additional little 5-pointer tokens. So you could still play with the rule of that center piece, having to get the extra 10 points if you keep it perfectly symmetrical, or the 5 points for having the piece in the center. But the other different aspects that get added in play in really nicely. And after a certain amount of time, I find myself coming back and just saying, let's play with all the aspects. But I really enjoy the addition of that volcano because it adds a little bit of something different to the gameplay, in allowing me to expand kind of my ways to score. And do I really want to bump up this area? I've got this volcano that's going to let me do it.
So how did the fire actually spread to the other tiles?
Yeah, so it spreads based on, I'd have to double check. I can't remember if it's the 1 moves like 3 spaces and the 3 moves 1 space, but fire moves a certain amount of space based on the number tile. So so that's the largest. That's the way it moves. So that fire is going to move through. It's not like you're so you got to be very kind of careful about which one you're picking up, but it could make a piece that's not otherwise valuable really valuable, because it suddenly allows you to get more multipliers on a different spot. And you'll see, of course, because it's got the 2 or 3 fires, the free fire volcano, there's only 1 of, if I'm not mistaken. So that one's incredibly valuable. And I think it only moves 1 space for that one. And the 1 fire volcanoes move 3 spaces.
Got it.
So they move a little bit more, but there's more of them. So, but yeah, and I might have that backwards, so don't quote me on that. But the bottom line is the concept is
pretty quoted.
You've been quoted. There's already people complaining about it.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, complain. Please join our Discord.
Complain to me in the Discord. That's fine. I will say too, those additional pieces that you see on the board are things you can buy by just having the right amount of goods to exchange in, which are those like animals. So it just adds a bunch of different ways. I really like it quite a bit. And as far as a family game goes, really great game to get to the table. And if you like King Domino, you're probably going to like this one.
So do you have all of them in your collection currently?
I don't have Queen Domino.
Oh, okay.
I have King Domino. I have regular King Domino. I don't think I have the expansion for King Domino. And then I have King Domino Origins at this point. But this one's getting played more now, I have to say.
Cool.
Over King Domino itself. But
I'm
no knock on that.
I'm curious about this one.
Yeah. Definitely want to be happy to play with you guys. It was pretty fun and obviously a pretty simple learn. You know King Domino, you know this one.
Yeah.
Some basic things you have to just, learn how they're going to work, but very minor. And if you've played the base game or the original, I should say, not the base.
Well, the opposite of very minor is coming up now. A very major, I would say, presence.
Oh,
right.
You felt that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It's a rumble.
It's
a rumbling. All right, bring them on.
Bring them on in 3, and 2, and 1. The presence is here. The Iron Horse.
I added it in. I figured I've been given the name, so I might as well just throw it in there. We'll have it there.
Erase it while it's working. Let's do it.
Welcome back.
How are we doing?
Oh,
good.
Chilling, having a good chill. What's on our table?
What's on the table? Our table. And
what's
table,
on your
table?
Well, we'll start with the heaviest of them all.
Okay.
And that's there's one way to say it, and I'm gonna say it wrong. I think it's Hedgemony.
I think that's the right way.
I think that's the right way. Lead your class to victory.
Yeah.
And this game, so we played it one Friday night. Took about 5.5 hours to play.
Nice.
And then we played it the following Monday, and it took about four-ish hours to play, with each of us playing different classes actually. And it's kind of like a political simulation game in a way. So there's the working class, the middle class, the capitalist, and the state. Each is all asymmetric. You're all trying to achieve a goal of your own in the way that class, as if it's like real life, is going to have to achieve to make things as best as possible. So the capitalists want low taxes. The state wants everyone to be happy to make it work as best as possible. And it's all played out by cards, by proposing bills, as you can see there with that picture. And it's such a fun game. There's so much going on with it.
Yeah.
But it's once you get the hang of it, and there's a reason why I ended up handing out player aids to the 3 others that were playing like a week beforehand. I was like, hey, take these, read your class, and try to understand it as best as possible. I'm going to try to do everything in my power to understand everything that I can and help you out. But I want you to have some sort of background on it as well.
That's
the same group
that's a
both
huge
times.
challenge with these asymmetrical games, right? Like I'm thinking of Root.
Like Roots.
Like you've got to take some time, because as the teacher, you can't, unless you know them all. So you've had to have played the game a ton to do that. But then it becomes this thing of like, oh, I don't tell you what to do because it's your.
Plus, you got downtime in explaining rules, and rules explanation downtime is always
especially when the same rules don't apply necessarily the same way to each player, for sure. So yeah, good on you. Did everybody kind of embrace that strategy going into it?
Yeah, they definitely did, and I appreciated the fact that they were open to like, hey, I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna go up on this, as like I'm typically the one that reads a lot of the rule books for my group. But they embraced it and definitely took it in. So it was nice to to know that they took some time to learn it a little bit too.
That's awesome.
And same group, both games, just for clarification.
Yeah, same group, both games. I played the State the first game. Misplayed a few things that which is expected. It's as big of a game. I think it's like a 4.12 or something like that for heaviness ranking. But it's expected. Didn't play as well, and then I played the middle class, and I think the middle class is by far the toughest of them all, because you have to balance buying goods and food and all this stuff while the working class is trying to do the exact same thing as what you are.
Interesting.
So, couple of questions about this one.
Mhm.
First, what's the best player count for it?
I do think 4 is the best player count.
4 is best
Because you can play it without the expansion. I will never play this solo. And this is coming from someone that plays a lot of games solo. I will never play this solo because it's just so much going on. I think if you can't get a group of 4, you at least need 3. Because 4, obviously all classes are going. At 3, you take the State out. And then at 2 players, I believe it's just it's either the working class and the capitalist or the middle class and the capitalists that are involved in it. So
it's interesting that they set it up that way, so that obviously they put thought into how it would play with different player counts.
Yeah.
Has
The
States
States
on your radar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
The State's always involved, but it's like if it's less than 4 players, it's always involved, but it just kind of runs on its own. So
this is one the way I heard it described.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Barros.
I was gonna say this is one the way I heard it described. It was one of those games that sounds like, it's long, but it sounds like one of those long ones that leaves a memorable experience and is gonna be worthwhile for even if you've just played it that one time. And I know long games can scare people away. I myself don't like to jump into something that's a guaranteed long game if it doesn't really interest me. This one falls into that category of this one interests me. So
for the asymmetry, how much of each role is very similar? Like what part, like is there would you say each role has like maybe half of its actions the same across every role? Or is it all really completely different playing?
There's maybe like 3 or 4 basic actions that are the same for each faction. And then I would say the 2 that are maybe the most similar are going to be your working class and middle class.
Okay.
Those 2 will be the most similar, but then with the capitalist, it's completely different. You're just trying to get all these companies out there at the lowest wages possible and avoid taxes as much as you can. So it kind of hit home a little too much thinking about like business and everything that is going on. So it's a blast of a game if you can get it to the table and be able to dedicate that time to it.
It seems like there'd be a lot of interaction then too. I mean, there's probably, right? Or
there is, because like even like so there's 5, 6 different phases or something like that of a round, and there's 5 rounds total, and one of the rounds is the election phase. So you have to make the decision of, am I going to vote with the capital? Like if you're the working class, am I going to vote with the capitalists on this? How is it going to benefit me? You have to have that conversation. Because if you win, you lose your cubes from the bag for future votes that there may be 6 or 7 different proposed bills that round that could change, and you don't have the votes then for the rest of that round because you won if your cubes were pulled for it. So there's so much. It's very difficult with the asymmetric part, but there's so much with the strategy outside of that too, and how you want to play it. So
that vibe for sure, like really sounds similar to that game that Barros, you and I play with Ian, Land and Freedom, the Spanish Civil War, where you're 3 different factions of, I guess different ideologies, right? You're like
ideologies is the best way.
The moderates, the anarchists, and the communists going up against fascism. in Spain.
That game is currently sitting on my shelf. I really enjoyed it, which is one of the reasons why I feel like this one would be very interesting, because that kind of style can work really well and make you make very difficult choices, which is what I liked about it. Every choice seemed meaningful in the game, and in that respect, to me, that makes for a really tremendous game.
But you don't want to necessarily help out the leader. That's the big thing,
right?
Which is
you
probably
don't help out the leader, but you also
one.
have a group you're kind of aligned with on certain things sometimes in those games. So you got to think about, okay, I'd like what you're thinking here, but I don't like what you're thinking here. It's not that different than real life, so
All right, we'll book it.
I'm down for that one. Yes, no question.
I think it's like $70-$80 right now, which is
right.
actually
definitely book
pretty
it.
good. Yeah. But I'll move along here. My second game is one I got on a steal of a deal, and it was my first. It came in with my first of 2 Uwe Rosenberg games. It's OranienburgerKanal. This is
no problem pronouncing that one.
Yeah. This is out of print. I've heard there's going to be a similar game to this reprinted,
right?
But but it's going to be slightly different like this. So it's not going to be just a bright yellow box that's going to come to you. And it's your typical Uwe game. You're trying to like build out roads, canals, dirt roads, paths, stuff like that. But then you also have these cards that are going to be have different goals on them for what you can do to achieve points for them. And then you get certain resources, you get certain victory points for it. And then you can build bridges, which are like the in between the blue tile there in the middle. That there you can trigger that card again after all 4 corners are or all 4 borders are set out. So
that's wild.
There's certain things with it. There's like a cost for the resources that you have to get, and there's 2 resources. I think I posted this on Blue Sky, and people were like, "Is that a wheel?" Like, I think they compared it to Glass Road. I've never played it before, but I think there's a wheel in Glass Road as well.
There is,
and it uses that wheel to show how many resources of that kind that you have. And the 2 to the right of the wheel there are very difficult to get, but they're like very important to do certain things that you need to do, or certain cards that you need to build. And it's just 5 actions each round. There's 5 huge discs. You move them in a stack. You leave one where you already were, and you place it. You do the action, and then the next person does the same thing. It's a 1 to 2 player game, and as you're working through, that yellow disc there is the stack of your actions for that round. So there's 5 actions. So the first player is going to get 3 actions. Second player will get 2. And you're essentially just going through. More actions are going to open up. There's a deck of cards that are 3 different types, like a green, an orange, and a blue. The blue are obviously going to be more value to them and have more points, but they're going to maybe more difficult to buy. And once you get through all those cards in a 2-player game, that's when the game ends. And it's a fun one. It's nothing overly complicated, but it is something that, like I said, I'm speaking of a game that's out of print, and I'm just very fortunate to have it and lucky to have it. And I got both expansions with it too, which give it 4 more decks of cards that you can use for the buildings that you get. So super lucky.
Congratulations.
Gabe's not a fan of this one, it looks like. But you mentioned 1 to 2 players, so you catch my attention when you say a 1 to 2 player game, because I like those good head-to-head kind of games. So catch my interest when you say his name and you say 2-player.
It's not visually appealing, but I feel like that's a lot of Ufe's games where you're not going to be drawn to it because the art or the design of the game. It's going to be the style of play, just based off of my experience with it.
I mean, I feel like some Uwe games excel at table presence. I mean, Agricola, I think, excels at table presence when you have that farm. Even Atiwa with all the bats and stuff, and you have all that. This does not excel. It's just a bunch of fights. But yeah, I really kicked myself for not backing it because I was really on the fence about backing it. And I was like, it's Fieldworks. They'll probably print it again. So we'll see. We'll see. They say that, but they like money, I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. So there'll be some form of it. But it's definitely worthwhile.
Patchwork looks nice too. I would say there's some that look nice. I would say there are some.
They're not. They don't all. I don't think anyone that they all look. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Agricola stands out to everyone though. I don't know about Agricola when you think about the games now.
The little animal meeples.
I know. I understand. I know you and I appreciate Agricola. I don't think anyone's jumping up and saying Agricola is like a gorgeous board game.
Hallertau probably not. That one's this is more in the Hallertau category. Or Nussfjord.
Yeah. By the
Also
way, before we go to Tyler's next game, just want to note Mr. Coaster in the house can't call in, but he's listening. So hi to him. I know Brian Chandler is listening from his ferry ride. So mentioning, by the way, that 100% cards for him in June: Lorcana, Star Realms, Sky Tier Horde, and Arkham Horror LCG. So some good ones there.
I played 3 of those 4.
Whoa. Also in June?
No, just in general.
You mean ever.
But you have a third. You have a third, Tyler.
So my third is probably the most absurd of them all. It's that I've heard of. It was actually played on Monday, and it was a game that some of us were like, "What? This is a game?" Like, it was one of those. It's the person in my group. He has so many games. It's like, is this actually a game, or are you just sending some random words together? It's Faeries and Magical Creatures. This is a Kickstarter that he just received like over this weekend, and it's a game by Glenn Drover. I think he did Mosaic as well.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed Mosaic. This is on the polar opposite, very light, very quick game. And it's an interesting one because it mixed together so many different mechanisms with it. There's area control, there's worker placements, it's deck building with it as well. And so it's interesting because there's 5 or 6 different action spots on the board. And so the first player chooses that action, and it's like you play a card. So every turn you get to play, if you're the lead, you get to play a card from your hand, which could be a variety of different things, of like placing a kinship token, which is like a token out on the board there in one of those 5 spots, or a variety of different things. And then there's the actions out there. So if you do the play another card, you get to play a second card, and then everyone else around the table gets to play 1 card. So you choose the action as the first player, you get to play a card, and then everyone else gets to do the action that you chose. And then you go around the table for that round until everyone has picked a worker placement spot. And it's interesting because there's certain order of operations that you want to use to take your actions or pick certain spots, because maybe your hand size is low, so you want to discard a card and refill your hand size up to 5. So it's interesting. And then there's also tile placement too with this game. So when I say there's a little bit of everything for mechanisms, there's a little bit of everything. There's tile placement, worker placement, deck building, area control. It's it's a lighter one for sure. It can probably, if you were playing it, you could probably play it in like an hour, and it plays up to 5 people. And it's pretty fun. There's a lot of end game points. I think I finished up with 99. And if you control, it's different areas like Earth, Fae, Trolls is one. Beast is another.
And Nature, Beast.
Yep. And each area has its own unique cards to it as well that are unique to that trait. Like the Trolls are a little meaner. The Nature may be a little more friendlier. They each have its own kind of characteristics within the cards themselves. And it's a really fun, unique game that I think a lot of us were speculative when we came into it. But when we left it and we were done with it, it was like, yeah, I'd play this again for sure. It's fun, but it also, there's a little take that, and it gives a little of everything within the game itself.
Yeah, this is intriguing. I like games that have a little bit of everything. And I like the mechanism of kind of having the option to follow what the lead player sort of does in slightly different ways. This is cool. I never heard of this.
Yeah, I definitely never heard of this one, but based on what you described, it sounds interesting. Anytime you see all the different kind of mechanics mixed in, if it does it well or doesn't do it well is the first question I ask. So the only way you know that is by trying it. And I was gonna say, seems like you had fun with it at least.
Yeah, I definitely think it did it well, and maybe it's because of playing Hedgemony twice this month and playing a bunch of heavier stuff and enjoying I like the lighter side of games as well.
Your brain doesn't fill out.
It evens out a little bit with the range in there. So, but no, I'm not a huge fan of tile placement, but this one as a whole was really fun because like at the end game scoring too, for each like tile, there's a path side and a garden side. Each garden tile that's connected to a path at the end of the game is worth 1 point. So it's interesting because you're trying to balance a little bit of everything. It's almost like Stan Kordonsky-esque, where there's so many different things going on, but you're trying to master them all at the same time, and it's just not possible.
Nice.
Sounds
awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
You always bring a surprising one to the table.
I try to. I could talk Ashes every single month, but I feel like that'd be boring after time. So we'll save that.
Well, we have Discord for anyone who wants to go out Ashes. Probably it's always active every day.
It's pretty positive
on the Discord. So
and it's great too because Oxrator, Vincent, and we met through Mr. Rao's channel. And now we do once a month. We do a virtual play.
Oh,
he's
cool.
He's up in good old Canada. I'm over here in Wisconsin, and we do a virtual play every single month. It's like the third Sunday, and we just get together, play some Ashes, and have some fun.
Love to hear that.
Love it.
Yeah, that's so rewarding. You know.
But
well,
I appreciate
thanks for calling in, keeping the streak alive. I know.
Yep.
I know that's taken some effort. It's months now. How long has it been?
It's been November almost. November, December. So
it's really hard to beat by anybody.
July will be a little difficult, but we're gonna make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
All right.
Awesome.
So thank you guys. We'll see you in chat.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Adios.
Before you guys go into games, I just wanted to bring up some stuff from the chat. Bunch of people listening can't call in. Squirrel saying he's listening, misses us. Mr. Coaster, by the way, I had mentioned it before, but he did say he played some good games. One of them being Nar, which we reviewed recently. Love Nar. The Nerd Shelves actually did.
I haven't done Dorf Romantic yet, though.
Yeah, and there's a dual version of that I want to play.
Yeah,
really, really badly. Squirrel does want to tell us about Origins. If anyone does want to call in and chat about Origins, love to hear it. But a few games played that Squirrel wanted to note: Life of the Amazonia, super
Kawaii pets.
Super Kawaii Pets, Dead of Winter, The Wolves, which I've enjoyed online. I need to play that in person. Habitats, Isle of Cats, Ultry, Meadow, Voidfall, Imperial, and Spells and
Imperial Spells and Steam is one game. Imperial Spells and Steam.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Big train box.
Oh, okay.
And then, by the way, Nar is on the Lake House agenda, it seems like. So
yeah, that's pretty great.
Which it should be. Yeah. Marcel was mentioning Wolves in chat as well, because I enjoyed playing Wolves with, I think, on Board Game Arena. So I'd like to try that in person. I need to see a physical version of that game. But yeah, what about you guys? What was on the playlist this month? Because some of the games we're gonna eventually review that we played, I know. And one we're gonna review. Those were some of my bigger ones. So this month was actually a little harder on without getting into something that I know is coming up for a review, to be honest.
No, we could talk about that one too.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying. I was trying to differentiate a little bit, but
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We built
I
up.
played a lot of Nar and a lot of Mojo.
We had this anticipation.
There you go.
Spoilers,
Three-course meal,
teasers.
I know.
You know,
a lot of Nar and Mojo. I have to tell you guys, a lot of Nar and a lot of Mojo.
All right. Well, you control that Nar and that Mojo. All right. I didn't find my white whale yet. I will just start with that. Okay. But this game is the best Ghostbusters board game with the official license. So the Ghostbusters X Men in Black Ecto-Terrestrial Invasion. Okay.
Oh, I read that wrong. I thought it was a Ghostbusters X-Men game.
No, it's yeah, right? X-Men. Now, well, Sony owns both Ghostbusters and Men in Black. Put them together in one game, and
what do you get?
And make them chibies.
Ecto-terrestrial invasion.
Ecto-terrestrial. Okay. I did not have a lot of high expectations for this game, and I'm letting you know right now.
As you should not have.
If you buy this game, don't have high expectations either. However, I bought it on Amazon for $60. It was on sale because they were doing they had when it came out, it was like they were crowdfunding it through their own website. So I guess what is that? Pre-order.
Yes.
They're pre-order. That's called a pre-order.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that was a term. For $120, and you get all these special features with it, all these special bonuses. I don't think it did that well because I spent $60 on the retail. And it was the deluxe.
They sent you 2 copies.
Well, it was the deluxe everything edition, and I think that's the only edition they made.
Oh, okay.
The ratings for it aren't too favorable. Yeah. It is out of print, but it's still cheap enough that you could get it places. It's always on sale at places. Look, is it back 65 on Noble Knight? Okay. So the reviews weren't that great for it on Board Game Geek because it had originally a botched crowdfunding campaign. Because this company that worked on it at first was the company that worked on the Evil Dead 2 board game, I believe. Hang on, there's a whole thing. Yeah, do not support this game. Here's why. Where was it? Soda Pop Miniatures Ninja Division was the first, but then IDW picked it up. IDW Games no longer does board. They're no longer doing board games. But let's talk about the gameplay. So in this game, it's an episodic campaign that is semi-cooperative, which sounds a little annoying, but it's not. It's not that bad. So what you're going to be doing is you'll be controlling a team of 1 Ghostbuster and 1 Men in Black. Okay. So each player controls 1 and 1, and your goal is to basically just do whatever the scenario tells you. Usually, uncover some token or kill X amount of people, or very zombicide-ish kind of deal, right? But what's interesting about it is you, on your turn, will allocate your 4 actions across your both figures, and the Ghostbusters are better at wrangling bad guys and moving them around. The Men in Black do more damage. The Ghostbusters can trap more bad guys. The Men in Black not as much. And it also comes with this cool dice tower that looks like the firehouse that has bits and pieces of an alien spaceship inside of it.
Does it work?
Well, you don't. It's sort of.
Okay.
So it's not really a firehouse. It's more like a cube tower. Because what you're going to be doing is you're dropping down different green dice, and whenever a green die comes out, a new baddie spawns.
Okay.
And you'll be pulling out those ship panels as the game goes on through different things. You also get to level up. You get to purchase different things throughout, and you can. It is semi-cooperative, so there are some take that elements. Now, I know that puts a big yucky taste in a lot of people's mouths, mine included, which is why I had really low expectations for this game. But they're really trivial.
Seems like an odd choice for the.
It is pretty odd. I mean, you would think like maybe the Ghostbusters up against the Men in Black, and that's like the semi co-op. No, it's not. It's you are a team of one Ghostbuster and one Men in Black, pissing off another team of one Ghostbuster and one Men in Black.
That seems weird.
It does seem weird. Again, grain of salt. Ghostbuster board games largely are not very good. But this one is the best of them. Okay. I'm not saying this is an excellent game that you need to play. I'm saying if you like the IP and you can find it for a cheap enough price, or if you happen to live close enough to me, we could try it out. And also too, it's over there. I have a whole section now of Ghostbuster games. So, anyways, going back to it. So I'm playing right now as Peter Venkman, who's Bill Murray's character, and the three funny aliens that have like the coffee and the.
Yeah. So that was going to be my question: is from Men in Black? Ghostbusters, I get they've got a cast of characters, even just if you go OG Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Men in Black, they've got a cast of people.
So you got Agent K and J, right? Which is Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. You have Agent L, who is I forget her name, but she's from both. She's the one that's at the end of the movie who becomes part of the Men in Black. Right. She's the mortician in the first one, right? And then there's the pug you can play as. Okay. You can play as the three talking aliens. You can play as Jeebs, the guy who Tony Shalhoub, right? Yep. Oh yeah. He owns like the shop. Men in Black has Michael Jackson. Well, I guess. Then the Ghostbusters have Prince because, they're cooler. What can I say? So going back to it, though, I am enjoying it for what it is. But again, play it at your own risk. If you're a shill like me, you will enjoy it.
So do parts of it carry over to each new scenario?
So, like different weapons and stuff and items and weapons. That's pretty much it. All right. So
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Well, it's over there. So
but you're in the middle of it, so hypothetically,
I could restart it pretty easily.
But it's resettable, is what.
Or we could also, whatever scenario I'm on, you can just hop in. We'll just catch you up, and that's the thing too. So whoever. You collect points throughout. So whoever's the highest point value is going to get $10 at the end of the scenario to purchase stuff. And the second most gets 8 points, $8, and the rest gets 6. But I'm only playing at 2 players. So it's just $10 and $8, which is A-okay. Right. There's also solo mode rules, which I haven't tried yet, but seems to make the game more co-op. And honestly, you could probably backport some of that stuff into there. They do a great job, though, with handling a lot of the IP. There's a lot of funny references to not only the movies, but also the cartoons as well. There's like the Boogeymans in it and stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's Ghostbusters, X-Men in Black, Ecto-Terrestrial. Yes, the pun. Invasion. Best of it too.
Pretty cool. All right, I'll do one. I busted out a game from 2019 designed by Bruno Cathala and Evan Singh. This is from Yellow, and it's called Ishtar, The Gardens of Babylon, I believe is the subtitle. Yeah.
This feels like one of those games I've seen on a shelf not just at your house, but like at other places, and just never played.
Yeah, I think overall it kind of flew under the radar. But it's it's been on my mind because it's a game I haven't played in a while, and I'm always kind of judging my collection recently to see what's gonna stay and go. But I'm glad I played this one again, and it is gonna stay for sure. This is a tile laying area control sort of game where you're also fulfilling some like resource contracts and things like that for extra points. But essentially the board's going to get set up with these modular pieces that'll make the layout look a little different for each game, and for each player count it looks different as well. There's these large like fountains that you see there, the purple and the white and red, and then there's a bunch of the same colored gems scattered throughout the land as well. And what you're going to do on your turn is you're taking from this group of lands like garden tiles
up here in this corner.
Yeah, on that sort of
it's like lily
it's like
pads.
A carpet thing or something. Yeah, and those are, it's weird. They're like circular shapes, right? So they do fit on this round parts of this board. You're going to lay it down, and if you cover up any of those gems, you take them into your supply. The gems are going to be used for a couple of things. They're going to, it's how you're going to pay for like those tree cards, which are straight up points that cost different amounts of gems. Like there's some that are
I see that
really expensive,
red,
and some that are on the cheaper side. And then also on your individual player board, you've got this sort of tech tree of like these skills that you can advance as well, which you also use gems to pay for. It's one of those things where you're not going to do all the things that are on your board, but you want to try to maximize, obviously, points. So at the very end of the game, you score in a bunch of different ways. Depending on what skills you unlocked, you'll get points for that. You also get points for controlling these flower beds within the gardens that are attached to these fountains. As you can see in this setup for max players, there's only one white fountain, so that one's worth the most. So if you're controlling that fountain, you're going to get 10 points end of the game. The red ones I think are 8, and then the purple ones I think are 4 or 6, something like that. But it's a lot of fun. You have a lot of choices on your turn of stuff you want to do, and those tiles, by the way, that you're putting down have flowers on them, which you're also going to get points for at the end of the game. We played a 3-player game, and it was very tight. And it was interesting because one of us really concentrated on having a buttload of flowers in our garden. One of us was really going to control that big 10-pointer fountain and a couple of the other ones. And I was concentrating more on the skills and getting my points that way. And I want to say that it was like a 2 to 3 point differential between first, second, and third place at the end of the game. So when you put one of those tiles down, it's going to cover some spaces, but also gives you the option of putting out a little assistant guy or advancing those skills. If it puts out an assistant, that's how you start to control the gardens. And if you do the skills, that's how you up your skill level. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty quick game. Actually, it looks more complicated than it really is, but when it's set up on the table, it's really, really nice. Although before we started the game, we rolled to see who went first, and Lauren rolled directly through the center of the board, and despite me telling her not to do that, everything flew, and gems went everywhere. It was fine. It was fine.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, there's a lot going on here. It's pretty cool. I think you might like it. You like area control stuff, cool. Right?
Yeah.
My one knock on it, I will say, is so the setup is random of the fountains there, and it seems like whoever goes first has an advantage because they're obviously going to start. It's kind of like in Takanuka where you have to build out from the water, right? So the first tiles you place have to be touching one of those fountains to start irrigating them, so to speak. So if you go first, you're obviously going to put and start on that white fountain. And Lauren kind of went unopposed on that for the whole game, right? I tried to get in on there, and I was like, this is too little too late. But I ended up winning on the skills track. So that was my 2019 pick, Ishtar, The Gardens of Babylonia. No, Babylon, not Babylonia. Babylon. Yep, I don't hear a lot of people talk about this game, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I give this one a shot. This looks pretty cool.
It looks interesting. It's got some good names attached to it that would catch my eye regardless. But I've always, I feel like I said, I feel like I've seen this box cover just repeatedly.
Yeah, I've had it like in front often for some reason. Well, I like the box cover. That's the reason. I know why.
It's a cool box cover.
Yeah. And it's got these cool little tree meeples that sort of look like cheerleaders.
Yeah, they do look like cheerleaders.
And it's funny because you'll buy a tree
totally
and put it out, and unless you have, the cool thing about that skills track is they're really specific things. So like unless you unlock that specific skill, the trees themselves on the board don't really mean anything. But there's one skill that says you'll get 2 points per tree in your garden if you have the biggest flower bed thing. There's a lot of nuances going on here. A lot to explore.
Cool.
I'll keep us going. Friendly reminder, of course, if you do want to be part of the show and you have obviously interact with us on the Discord at some point, call-board.com. We would love to have you on and chat with you, learn about what you've been playing. If you joined later on in the show and don't want to come on, but want to talk about the games, at least feel free in the comments to mention the games you've been playing. Guys, I'm going to bring up one. We're going to be reviewing it in the future, but I just wanted to bring it up just because I've now played 2 games of it with you, Ryan, and that is ForGlory.
ForGlory.
There's no exclamation mark, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I think it's just ForGlory. I think I got it right this time.
There's a sword. That could be an exclamation mark. For glory.
Is that like, let's go?
Yeah.
But this one, I just want to point out just right up front, this was a review copy, so this will be a future review. But we had a chance to play this one. It is a 2-player deck building game where we are fighting for glory in the arena. And I would say so first and foremost, the first time we played this, it's to say that we played it right would be wrong. Because we missed a few rules. We missed a few rules.
I blame the rules explainer.
Yeah, and we missed a few rules, but needless to say, we went and we put it back on the table again with all the proper rules. And I'd like to play it again, but it's one of those which I think is important. The fact that I wanted to play it again, right? But with this one, you're going to start with the same starting hand as your opponent. With the expansion that we used, we also start with a champion that is upgradable. So you're going to be able to upgrade a champion up to a 5th level. So you're going to start at their level 1 level. And you're going to have arenas, 3 arenas on the table at any time. But 2 of them are considered fleeting arenas. And so
they get 1 point.
It was like gladiatorial battle type stuff. Cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting. There are some pretty powerful cards in this game, and combinations obviously incredibly important. And that's one thing with any deck building game. But all in all, this game, I had a good time playing it. I do want to play it a little bit more before we drop a final review. Anthony, I obviously, want you to have a chance to play it as well. But it is gladiatorial battle. There's also, by the way, I should note 3 different types of cards: tactics, schemes, and essentially the gladiators themselves. So definitely, I will tell people, don't overplay into any of them, because in my second game, I just had way too many gladiators and my deck was way too stacked with gladiators, but I didn't have enough influence to put out those gladiators. So the influence that is going to be available on some of those cards is incredibly important. But it's a neat little system, I felt, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. But this will be one we're going to cover.
Well, the really interesting thing about it is because those points, because you win as soon as one player gets 6 points or more. And you're going to be putting down these gladiator cards in those center arenas, but the fight doesn't begin unless 2 thresholds have been met.
Yep.
Is there enough gladiators to achieve the certain attack threshold, which starts at 6 and it goes up to like 9 and 14 and 25. Is there enough to start the combat in amongst all arenas?
So they would all trigger then?
Yeah, and then you would all trigger. And secondly, the second player or the player has the least glory is going to be the one that determines is it going to happen, because you only count that value at the end of that player's turn. So whoever's losing is going to kind of have the one up in terms of getting it there and making sure that they can get their gladiators out. Because once it's gladiator time, it's gladiator time. And we're fighting, and you'll have the option to add some cards from your hand out into the field. Or you could have the option to use some cards from your hand to fight people. But what's interesting about that too is that throughout the game, let's say you get tactic cards to fight out during a gladiator phase, but we're not in the gladiator phase. We're still in like the muck and build your deck phase, right? So what you could do is you could set cards aside into your reserve pile, and at any point you could take all the cards in your reserve pile, so long as you pay 1 coin per. So you need to make sure you got the money for it and got enough cards for it, because there could be a point where you have 5 cards there, but you only have $4. You're boned. That's Roman, I think.
That reserve system is incredibly helpful because you want those tactics in battle. There's some incredibly powerful tactics, but you're not going to have them with you by default. So you got to think about reserving, which means, do you have the gold to pay for them? But there's also, you do have a card, by the way, that is a cull card. So you can cull cards out of the game. But again, I'm going to probably play this 1 or 2 more times before dropping that final review. Hopefully next month. But for me, like I said, I've enjoyed the plays of this one. And
the other thing with the expansion is they throw in support for solo mode and 3 and 4 player mode.
Yes.
So
yes, and the solo mode is one. I've done the solo mode and I did enjoy it. I definitely liked it better at 2 player, but the solo mode was very easy. Was easy to follow and do.
Okay.
So
cool.
By the way, going back to the chat, I just wanted to bring up 1 or 2 things. So let me see what's happening.
Mr. Rao's in the house.
Mr. Rao is here. I'm glad that he's feeling better. I totally understand not feeling well. Mr. Coaster is saying, I always enjoy learning some games I wasn't aware previously for your show. I don't know if he was talking to us or Mr. Rao, but hopefully both. Sarah's in the house as well. And Tyler, by the way, pointing out one of the reasons I always try to find new games every month. Sometimes it's not easy. But yeah, we always learn about new games. So I definitely appreciate people in the comments bringing up some good stuff. Ryan, Anthony, any other games you want to talk about before we get to our Northwood review later on here?
I could pop in one more. As you know, it is summer vacation time. Woohoo! Which means the kiddos are home. There's no school, right? So, Daddy Day Camp on the way. So, of course, when it comes to playing board games, we got to do some kid games. And we're doing kid games. We're going to LoopinLouie.
Yeah!
LoopinLouie this came out in 1992 and still delivers as one of the best, silliest kids games you ever play. There's a murderous pilot named Louie trying to murder of yours.
Kids game, and he's a murderous pilot.
Yeah. I mean,
let's point that out.
Without murder, you know. So while Louie is trying to perform death-defying stunts to take out your chickens,
is that Seth Rogen?
Yeah, probably. Why he chose the face paint, I don't know. But what you have are these protective catapults in front of your barn to just hit it on over and make sure your chickens don't get obliterated and turn into propeller dust.
But you can't hit it too hard.
You can't hit it too hard,
might
kids.
knock your own chickens off.
Correct. This is a game where you get to learn. It's not all about how hard you can hit. It's about the finesse.
Yep.
It's about hitting
It's all on the
Louis
wrist.
at the right time to make him just leap enough to be out of your opponent's catapult. And I made sure my 6-year-old knew that.
Now, I will say, having played this and having played the Bluey version.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't done that one.
Okay.
Keep you uppy, right?
Keep you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more action to Louis than there is to the balloon and Bluey.
Well, one's just a sphere.
Yeah.
This one's a murderous.
Yes.
There's
I'm saying
rampaging,
the action
drunk.
you get, there's more variability and unpredictability in Louis that I've noticed than in the Bluey one.
I mean, look at those eyes.
Oh God.
Look at that.
Psycho.
Terror. You got to be careful when playing LoopinLouie. This, of course, we're playing the Japanese edition, which has support for 2, 3, 4, and 6 players, all built into it.
I like how you say
it is best
of
with 4
course
for
it's the
sure.
Japanese version.
Say that again?
I like how you say, of course, it's the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Because everyone owns that. But I've seen that version. I've seen the stuff that you have to speed it up. Like what you have, just like people need to play what you've have because I really feel like it levels up that fun factor. And it makes sense when you see people saying, "Oh, I want to buy another one so I can play with more." LoopinLouie. It's not called LoopinLouie. It's called Keep You Uppy. I know, but
Keep you happy.
it's just LoopinLouie in my house. That's what we call it if the kids want to play it. It definitely doesn't have that same. It's fun, and for the cost and being able to just have it in the house, it will go nowhere. We love Bluey. It has that little 2-player and 3-player setup, but it is a large balloon, so that's just what it is. And
Non-murderous balloon.
Non-murderous pilot. Yeah.
Well, no, it's you're just trying to not pop the balloon. That's all. That's all you want to not do. Don't pop the balloon. So, but if you want, the lighter experience of LoopinLouie, this gives you the idea. I did crack up.
LoopinLouie is still in stock.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's frequently like, LoopinLouie. Let's look.
Wow, just assumed to be mass produced constantly. Like,
yeah, like
look,
someone's listing it for $50 on Amazon. I don't think.
Oh wait, what's that? Is that the English one or no?
It looks German. Yeah.
That's looking that humor.
Yeah. Also, LoopinLouie is a very popular German drinking game, which is why it stays in print in Germany.
Good job, Germany.
So and of course they have. I'm not even. Let me share this tab. This is the tab with that. There you go. So you guys can see. Then there's different modifications you could add to LoopinLouie that have been crafted with the finest German engineering. That there's a mod called Salto Sammy where you could put in and it'll speed up Louie at random intervals.
Ooh.
To the point where he'll stop.
That.
You could pay even extra to make him go backwards. I don't have the backwards one though. I only have the forwards one.
That thing goes insanely fast when you put that in.
It goes really fast.
It's
way too fast.
It's nuts. You can't even stop it.
Yeah. And then even then, so I have the 92 Louis, and then I have this one, the Japan one. And the Japan one moves at a speed of like 1.5 rotations faster than the standard 92 Louis. So there's a whole lot of Louis stuff. And if you do play, of course, there are rules for the tournament rules for LoopinLouie on Board Game Geek.
I have a very special video that I have to play right now. You just got to give me a moment and stall long enough while it uploads.
You go do that. Where is it? Yeah, I don't see the tournament rules on Board Game Geek, but they're very simple. The tournament rules for LoopinLouie are as follows. You play a full round of LoopinLouie so everyone has 3 chickens, and whoever wins that round starts with 1 fewer chicken for all following rounds, and you keep doing that until one player is completely out of chickens. Not only that, it's recommended to also switch seats.
I think we did that once.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, switch seats, switch different I guess
We had
hitters
a
and
card,
stuff.
right? A
Yeah,
card
we had
set up where you started.
and that was on Boarding Geek somewhere, and I can't find it. But oh wait, maybe I found it. Maybe this is it. I think this is it. No, this is just the standard rules for it. Oh, there you go. I'm not sharing the tab anymore. Yeah. So right, all players start with 3 until remaining one is down to 0. But I don't see the cards here. There are cards to recommend switching seats and stuff. So, anyways, LoopinLouie. Is it just a kids' game? That went way too long. How dare you?
I had to. The slow motion just sees the raw excitement in every little detail in their faces. So that's that video is from like 2022, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's in live slow motion action. Good stuff.
What's your last one?
I'll do one more, and then we'll get into our review.
Yeah, so if anyone does want to call in, this is last call for callers at call-aboard.com.
Yeah, and before you jump into yours, I do want to see if we have anyone else join. It looks like Dr. J is in the house. Said for Father's Day, he played Illustrations, Hogwarts Battle, Illettery, Abandon, All Artichokes, and Gloom of Kilforth. And then also earlier on, Mr. Rouse had a really silly fun family we've been playing. It's called Cats and Fish. Really good if you have little gamers in the house.
I do.
Let's see. Anything else in here? Yeah, some good stuff. Sarah in the house as well. But they did play 2 sessions of Lands of Galzar. And a lot of good suggestions in here. And looks like Arwen is here as well. So hello to Arwen.
Hey, Arwen.
So yeah, if anyone does want to call in, call-aboard.
Arwen, are you calling in from the blimp?
Yeah, I don't know if Arwen can call
in. Goodyear blimp.
Wow, really?
I don't think Arwen is still in the blimp, but
I don't know.
That'd be cool. All right, Anthony.
Let's do it. WalkingInBurano. A very colorful card game where you are basically building a tableau in front of you of these 3-story buildings that are apparently the architectural sort of style of Burano, which is, I think, in Italy, a water adjacent town. And yeah, it's really pretty. You're going to be drafting cards from this display. And the rows there's the top part, the middle part, and the bottom part. And you're going to be taking the cards, possibly playing them in front of your tableau, if you have money to do so, and then eventually stacking them on top of each other. So it's interesting because they all the pieces of these houses have different attributes, which is how you will score points. So you'll notice at the bottom, there's these people, these visitors that come basically. As soon as you finish one house, you'll immediately choose one of these visitors to come to your tableau and then give you score points for end of the game in all sorts of different ways. Somebody wants to have a bunch of flower pots on the house. Someone wants to have a bunch of cats on different parts of the homes. The restaurant guy wants you to have as many different storefronts along the bottom row as possible without repeating. So there's a lot of ways to score, but the people that are coming to visit you to score those points are limited, right? They're not like unlimited, and you don't play with all of them every game either. So there is some variability there as well. It's a cool combination of sort of hand management and your money, because when it's your turn, you can either take all 3 cards in one column from the display, or then going down the line, you can switch and take only 2 cards and get 1 money, or only 1 card and get 2 money. And then you pay that money to put your pieces down. But the first one only costs $1. The second or third one you put down in one turn is going to cost you $2 each. So you're going to run out of money fast too, so you don't mitigate that. It's really actually kind of thinky for as simple as it looks, because you're really trying to obviously maximize who's going to come to your house. And if another player already took that person, then you have to sort of shift your strategy and say, okay, what's the next best way that I can score for this? And some of them are immediate, not immediate. Some of them are scoring points for just the building that they're under, and some of them are going to score points for your whole tableau in some way or another. And I see in the chat, this game's getting a lot of love. This one definitely got more love, I think, overall than my last pick. Not from the chat. I just mean in general. Yeah, I think so. And yeah, this is a really pretty one. In fact, I don't remember who it was, but I saw somebody the last day or two posted on Facebook that they were playing this game in Burano, which
cool.
is always cool.
That's nice.
Luckily, the board game industry has so many location titles of games, cities, and stuff like that. That's kind of easy to pull off if you have the means. But yeah, Walking in Burano, nice little point salad-y kind of a tableau builder for you.
The closest I've come to pulling it off, by the way, it doesn't count because it's not actually Verona, Italy. I played Council of Verona in Verona.
Oh, that's not
the
the Verona you're thinking.
I know, but that's fine. I know. The dream actually, well, it used to be few things, but there's a bunch of them now that are doable. I feel like
one of the visitors is Santa Claus. I forgot to mention.
Oh, really?
Santa Claus is one of the visitors, and he wants the most chimneys. So that's
funny.
He scored based on the.
Well, that's neat.
The top tiles of the houses. I should add, you're kind of constrained to a house should be all 3 pieces of the same color.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And you're not supposed to have 2 houses that are the same color adjacent to each other in your tableau. But you get these, I think, 3 tokens that allow you to break that rule, up to 3 times or 4 times. But then if you don't use them, they're points at the end of the game as well.
Got it.
I like when a game does that, where you can kind of say, oh, I kind of want to do this because I'm in a tight spot, but I'm going to give up some points for it. But I'm going to get some points for it too. Yeah. I like weighing those options.
Yeah, I see in that corner is 2 blue house. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. There's also a couple of cards that are really just like scaffolding, which is kind of cool because, again, let's say you really want at the top that roof card of something, but you don't have anything to support it yet. You can keep that card in your hand, and then later when you have a little bit of money, you can put those scaffolding out and then put it up on top, and then later replace it with, an actual card.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's cool. A lot going on.
Yeah, you've got the same mindset of I'm guessing it's Michael over there from the nerd shelves. By the way, we do have a caller. Before we go to our caller, I did want to note that Tyler is going to get to play Ezra and Nemaya, which I really want to play. So I'm jealous there. And Beer and Bread, which I very much enjoy. So excited to get.
I want to borrow that too.
Oh,
that's the Barrow's house. Yeah.
Beer and Bread, so good. So freaking good. But with that, we do have a caller. And of course, still have a chance to call in if you'd like, call-aboard.com. But it looks like we have Arwen, fresh off a very busy week at Origins.
In 3, 2, 1, boom. Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How are you?
So, are you on the blimp?
I am not on the blimp currently. I was actually on the blimp earlier today. It's kind of cheating in a way because the blimp was off the ground, but it wasn't outside. So it was still in the hangar. But it's a long story. It was a long story. I've been on it once before. It's really difficult to get on that thing. from getting an actual ride secured standpoint, it's really easy to climb in the cockpit. It's fine. But as far as actually being able to have a reason to be on there, that's kind of difficult. So, long story short, I interviewed a NHRA top fuel driver today at work in front of a bunch of people. And we went over to the blimp hangar, and I got to hang out on the blimp for a little bit. So, all in all,
wild.
Cool day.
That is a cool
Very,
day.
very cool. But you must have had some. I know you had to leave early, but you must have had some good days at Origins and playing some games. So, anything standing out that you maybe had a chance to check out? I know you're probably busy working as well, but anything that just kind of jumps out from that experience this week?
Yeah, so a couple of them, and I did do a little bit of a rundown on the podcast. It's the latest episode. You can go to cardboardtime.com to see that, or listen to it. You can't really see it unless you can visualize, my talking. But I think there were a couple that really did stand out to me. Obviously, you have kind of the standard end of the cycle for like your PAX U and Essen releases. Those were still being shown there, but you did have a few games that were either released or going to be, basically released at Gen Con. They had a lot of previews for those. One that really stood out to me, and Allie really enjoyed it as well, was Lairs by KTBG. And
is that Lairs Plus?
Lairs.
Lairs. Got it. Okay.
So this is going to be an upcoming crowdfunding campaign that will be coming out towards the end of the year, I believe. And we got to check out a kind of early prototype copy of it. There was a prototype copy that was kind of floating around at PAX Unplugged. This was the first time that I had gotten to play it, and I think the best way that I could describe it was probably like Battleship meets Dungeon Crawl. And even that's not really doing it justice. So what you do is you have a certain amount of walls. You have 3 monsters, 3 traps, and 3 treasures. And you are laying out a grid-based dungeon. And you have to have at least one path that only goes through 1 trap, 1 monster, and you could get all the treasure. The rest of what you do, you're absolutely, it's up to you. There just needs to be a clear path, basically from the entrance to the exit, going through and collecting all the treasure that only involves one of the 3 traps and one of the 3 monsters.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
KTBG always, I feel like even the games from KTBG that I don't necessarily love, I can appreciate the design and the different things that they've tried.
Totally.
That's the, like, I don't want to own every one of their games, but I can, it's one of those things where they're all worth at least one try. And, but then there's a bunch of them that I really, would like to own too. So it's not a bad thing whatsoever.
And this was really interesting because you would design your dungeon, and at the same time, your opponent is designing theirs. And what you get to do is basically crawl through your opponent's dungeon. And it's it's very reminiscent of the old school dungeon crawls on PC that you would go through, and you'd encounter a monster or you'd encounter a trap and have to deal with it. And I really like that because you were making your own map and drawing that out. I thought that was it was a really cool concept. There's going to be a lot of different expansion content that comes directly in the box. I think there's like 10 little boxes that you open up. And beyond the first game, that then expands to different concepts like having a locked room, and things like that. So
nice. That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, so that one was really interesting. Another one that I got to try that was actually taught by Andrew Stiles, who's a designer of it, is Wine Cellar.
Okay.
And that's
Good topic.
CELLAR.
There you go.
And this is really a bidding game that you are trying to basically fulfill your client's needs. And that comes from like the vintage of the wine that they want, the regions that they want. And you can see that on the cards that are off to the left. Basically, they're going to give you points if there are different types of wines. And then the countries that they're coming from also are directly underneath that. And to Tyler's point, yes, I think it was a group of 4 games.
It was 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I backed it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
It was like 4 games for like $65.
Yeah, it was 25th century, right?
They all looked very intriguing. This one for sure. And I think somebody was talking about this a couple episodes ago. I thought they knew the designer or something. Or I could totally be making that up.
That might have been on Discord. I felt like there was a conversation somewhere. It might have been on Discord, which could have been Arwen. I don't actually know who. I just know it was discussed.
I think it might have been Eddie. Hey, sorry.
Oh, no worries. So the numbers that you see there are basically the bottle's vintage. And what you're going to be doing is building up your tableau of 8 different bottles that will be coming out during the 8 different rounds. You place your first bottle basically in the center of your tableau. And then where you decide to go with the next bottle, you can either go to the top of your tableau or the bottom of your tableau. But you can never put bottles of wine in the middle. And really what you want to do is ideally have that highest value for the beginning of your tableau be, the beginning of that row of numbers, and then the second one be the second one, etc. For a maximum of 8 points on each, and you can get 64 points that way. So if you look at that, the one at the bottom of the tableau, that would be worth 8 points. The second highest one would be worth 7. The next one after that would be worth 7. The next one after that would be worth 8, etc.
Oh wow, that's a good score.
So it's all about optimizing each one. Yeah. This is a pretty cool concept.
It's really well done, and the number that you see at the top left is basically the bidding amount. So, the person who bids the highest using one of those cards, that's going to wind up being in the bidding process for the next round, and that winds up also being your bidding score and how high you can bid. So you have to time that very well. Lots of clever little things and lots to juggle and try to figure out like what's the best. When do I want to play that high card that I have that can get me a really good bottle of wine, and when it is my choice basically enough that I can get away with a lower bid.
Yeah, this looks neat.
I love the graphic design on this too.
Same. It's very intuitive. I think it really, and again, designer in a box, that you wind up having a very easy time because the designer's right there teaching you how to play the game. But I think it literally took us a matter of 5 minutes to get up and going with him. It's very quick to pick up. A nice small compact package as well. So I think this is going to be a winner. And Anthony, I think, you did good by backing all the games. I only back this, but I may go back into the Pledge Manager and just add, the rest of them after, seeing this and kind of having a little FOMO over not getting the other ones.
Nice. I want to try this one.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's in.
I will. We'll have a marathon.
We'll each bring wine.
There you go.
Right? You got to bring wine.
Oh, Tyler's right. It was Squirrel. Squirrel mentioned it in the Discord.
Oh, there you go.
He knows that one of his ladders. Yeah. This is a ladder.
There's some storms outside. There's some storms.
Yeah,
the power went out briefly.
Oh, we have a full view. We got a window open.
Lighting up the sky.
Yeah. So thank you though, Arwen. Again, we obviously we're not at Origins, but it sounds like a lot of good stuff was happening. And as I think I noted to you in the Discord, I was glad to hear everything was okay with the doggo that you had to go back for. So,
yeah,
we're happy to hear that. So
yeah, and thank you for that. He was just being a little anxious boy, and as soon as we got home, all of the issues that he was having all of a sudden cleared up just magically.
Wow.
I have an anxiety-ridden dog, so I completely understand that happening and occurring. So totally get it. But thanks for calling in. As you noted, by the way, I just want to kind of make sure we bring it back up. You had a ton of coverage that you did in your latest episode, but you're also sharing, if I'm not mistaken, kind of like one-off posts. I don't know, was it Instagram? Somewhere I knew you were doing it one-off on all the different games. So if people want to get a little bit more of an idea of what you picked up, they can find out there too.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was really trying to do with that is you're able to find that on our Facebook, the Instagram, as Chris noted, and then also the Blue Sky as well for those of you who are on there. I basically decided to do a game a day to kind of express exactly why I was picking up what I was picking up, and I chose to review what I chose to review, because I think a lot of times we get back from conventions and it's very, tempting to just post this giant haul and, show everybody everything that we got and look at all the stuff that we got. And I think over the course of time in my gaming career, one of the things I've really learned is to be mindful about what I'm picking up and what I'm, actually accepting as part of a review process.
Yeah, it's such a good point. So many, there's like game overload, but to appreciate why games were picked up and why they were interesting is, I like it. I like it a lot. So definitely, everybody, please go check out Cardboard Time. Feel free after this, just drop a link to that episode in the chat just so people can find that easily. And thank you for calling in and being part of the show tonight.
Well, thank y'all for having me as always.
Absolutely.
Take it easy.
Alrighty.
All right. So if we do not have any other callers at this time, I will say stick around. We're gonna drop into just one review this month. One, but not just one.
Not just one.
For Northwood.
For Northwood. A solo trick-taking game. So this is designed by Wilhelm Su. Came out in 2021. The copy that we have all played and bought on Amazon maybe like a month or two ago.
And then I bought it after.
Yeah, and you bought it after. For Northwood is a game that was introduced into the channel through Danielle's top 20 of all time. Danielle is a big solo gamer, and she does the Danny Cha Plays channel. So you can find more of that on our Discord. You can find her top 20 on our previous videos. But For Northwood is exactly what it says. It is a solo trick-taking game where you are trying to get the most points by having different conversations out in the forest to recruit different kings and queens as part of your army to, I guess, get points for Northwood.
Yeah,
right?
it's not really clear what's going to happen after that.
I don't know.
Maybe there's some battle that we don't know about.
They're cuddly.
It's
Yeah,
all about diplomacy though. You're just going and
Yeah.
having nice conversations. That's really what they're doing. But it's interesting because this is, as a trick-taking game, a game where you're going to choose the person you're going to go talk to, right? But that number is the number of tricks you're going to need to win.
Right.
Exactly that number of tricks. And that's the challenge. It's not you need to win at least 4 tricks. You need to win 4 tricks, or you need to win 0 tricks, which challenging in itself. Now, thankfully, you've got these other cards that are going to help you with it. Plus, when you win one of those areas, you're also going to have that ability to take a new ability in, and for one round, be able to put it in as a replacement for one of those other, I believe it's the Jack cards.
Yeah, so you start with there's 4 suits in the game.
Yes.
There's claws, eyes, leaves, and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with the 4 jacks of each suit that have different abilities. And if you win at any of these locations from 0 to 7, you then have the option of bringing those other rulers in to replace the jacks temporarily, because they all do different things.
Right. You could replace one of the 4 jacks with that special power. Just know that if you do decide to replace it, that round is the only round you're going to be using it, whether or not you actually used it or not. So there's that wager of, do I actually go for it or not? Because the thing is, you're going to look at your card, right? Your hand of cards, and you're going to determine which of these leaders should I talk to? Because the issue is whatever. So let's say you go up against the King of Leaves. Well, now the Leaves card is the Trump card. It's a Trump suit, right? So all those leaves are going to be defeating all others. And what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be flipping over the top card of the deck and kind of just resolving it based on what card you play out. So you play out a card, you flip over, and you'll see who wins. And there's a lot of tension in this little tiny box.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It is not easy. There is a great video on how to play it from, I believe it was Totally Tabled. And he got a perfect score of 20 in the game. I was like, what?
I got 20 once.
Did you? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was like, I'm going to do it. And I failed so miserably. I did get 20 once, but
Tyler has a good, this one shocked me at the art enjoyment, maybe going perfect once in my many plays. So yeah, you can get, but to get perfect is not easy at all. It's constantly a challenge. They've also got more cards that you can work in to add variability. They've got a campaign of sorts, like a little story campaign that you can do as well.
The noisy year. Yeah, and
which I started. I have not completed it yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of these games that, Ryan, we talked about this a lot, I feel like, where so many things come in boxes that are just way too big. This one comes in a perfect size little box with just tons of replayability. It is tense though, and in the best of ways, as far as I'm concerned. It definitely makes me want to play again and be like, is that close to a perfect score? And you feel good when you get the perfect score, even if it's obtainable. You feel good when you do actually manage to get it. It's a nice moment.
It's certainly a feat, and it has a lot of highs and lows. You know, there is definitely triumph and tragedy in any single. It can go really easy, or oh my gosh, how am I gonna get this?
Now I don't know about you guys, but I have played a few times where I've lost my first visit and just started over because I wanted to try to get the perfect score. So I was like, oh, I lost the first one. Never mind. Let's try that again.
What I learned from my plays of it, I've learned that if I've got a really good shot at the 0, I go for the 0 in that moment because if I wait till the end, like the 0 can't be one of my last ones. You know what I mean? It's dangerous that way.
Well, they have different point thresholds, right? So the 0 and the 7 have 4. The 1 and the 6 are 3 points. 2 and 5 are 2 points, and 3 and 4 are 1 point.
But those 4s are critical for getting even your passing scores.
Absolutely.
But those special powers are huge. Like those special powers are completely huge with the jacks.
They are.
Like you're gonna be constantly figuring out when you should do it because there's a certain point where, oh, I should have done that jack a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh, this is way too late for this.
Well, because you get on a roll, you're like, all right, there's a point. You know, when there's a point, oh, I'm doing so good. And before you know it, you have like 3 cards left. And you're like, I need 3 more tricks. And I need to win every one of these.
And then you get more cards. And then you get those 3 tricks. And it's like, okay, now I need no more tricks. And I still have 3 cards.
But it's so, to your point, there's so many of those abilities. And they're going to be different every game. And they vary so much that it's really like you're never going to use the same one all the time, right? Because some of them are really good for getting less tricks, right? Like one of them lets you discard all your matching suits of the leader that you're on, like immediately. And if you pull your hand of 8 and you've got like 6 claws and you're going for that 0 one, I'm going to discard all my claws.
That's a great one to do.
I got nothing to worry about, right? Or conversely, you're like, oh man, I have 3 or 4 more tricks. I need more cards. There's a one that lets you draw up to 8 more cards, fill your hand back up.
The one feat that allows you to choose the number of tricks one below or above is the best of them all.
Yeah. I mean, I got to the point where I started to just shuffle them all in and randomly deal out the.
Oh, really?
Leaders. Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, the jacks I kept out for sure.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, just mixed them all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I too. I'm at the point where the standard starting cards are no longer they're mixed in amongst.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
I've only played the standard. I've only done the kings and the queens.
Now there's a lot of interesting ones that are hard to pull off, but if you get the full benefit of it, you could be golden.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. I actually played this. My son brought this downstairs today.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, he had premonitions because I was going to ask him to bring it downstairs, so I didn't forget to bring it back to him. But he wanted to play it. He saw me play it a bunch, and I was like, "It's a 1-player only game. You're too little to play it by yourself, but we could play it together. As one person,
of course."
And so, he was in charge of flipping over the cards to do the the dialogue. Sure. But he was trigger happy. And I was like, "Whoa, hold on, dude! Don't flip the next one. I got to look at my options here. I got to look at my jacks. I got to see how many cards I have." But yeah, he really enjoyed it. I mean, how could you not? Look at this.
Yeah, it's got cute art for sure.
It's adorable.
Oh yeah.
So this is on my wish list now for sure. I may put this on my birthday list.
Oh, which is next month. It's like $20.
All right, yeah. Because I just it's my favorite solo game.
Really?
I'll say that. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean. And that's not saying much for me.
Well, you don't do solo gaming.
Solo player out of the 3 of us, and by far amongst the channel too. But this really, really hit for me.
Yeah, I agree. This was I did not expect to like this as much as I liked it, but I knew I would. I knew from the first time I saw it physically on the table when it was prior to one of our call aboard episodes. That you showed me
like a couple hands.
Yeah, I played a couple of hands. And in terms of it, I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I borrow it? And then I think it was within a week that I ordered my own copy because I said, no, this needs to be like in my backpack for work or this was in terms of it, my solo games the games I'm playing solo at this point that are travelable. And the only reason the other one's travel is because I put it in a little travel case. It was Rolling Realms. So this and Rolling Realms are my little travel games that I bring with me everywhere now.
Yeah, this easily became my most played solo game. I'll say that.
Wow.
For sure. Because it's just so easy to set up.
It is so easy.
10 minutes and you just knock it out.
And I always worry about those kinds of solo games because I'm not going to lie. I like playing with toys when it comes to solo gaming. Like I like the
ships and stuff.
Yeah, it's fun, But ForNorthwood has a lot of punch in it, like a lot of punch. And I was just like, I like what you're saying. I was not expecting to really love ForNorthwood as much as I do. So,
and I will say this: it grabs attention when people watch you, because I don't know if it's like this for you guys, but when I will tell you this, at work, I'm recognized as, oh, you like the board game. So at lunch, on the rare moment when I can have like 30 minutes for lunch, this is out on a table because we've got a bunch of tables by this big open window, and I will go and I'll start playing it, and people are like, what is that? That's really interesting. And I'll explain it, and once or twice, people like, just what is that? And so I think it has that appeal because visually, yes, it's cute, but it's cute, it's bright, it's colorful. But it looks like something that, because it's a bunch of cards, I feel like that people like, I could pick this up. So it has that friendly nature to it. They don't realize the bite the game has, because damn, the game has some bite, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I when I want to tell people about a game after playing it, I know it's a fit for me. And to your point, I, not that my dad was watching me play, but he was at my house the other day when I was playing, and I was like, I got to show you this game. And it's not like he's not like a gamer by any means, but I know that he, played card games. He knows how to play hearts and trick-taking games. And I was like, play trick-taking games. This is a trick-taking game you play by yourself. Here's how it works. And we went through, a whole hand together. He was like, that's pretty cool. And that's very high praise for my father. He doesn't say much. Yeah. So for him to say that and not be much of a gamer, I think this is, to your point, Chris, a very inviting game. It has a sense of familiarity to it because people know how to play those types of games. And people have played solitaire, just the game of solitaire, right? And it kind of looks like that when it's out on the table.
It kind of does,
to an extent. And that's, that's very welcoming and nostalgic for a lot of folks.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. This game, the cards are going to get worn. I've decided, I've thought about the fact this, crazily enough, may need to get sleeved because I'm
no way. No, the game is cheap enough.
I know.
$20. There's a print and play version.
So annoying.
Don't worry about it. You don't need sleeves. Nice linen finish on those cards, I think.
Yeah. It's going to get played a lot, though. That I can promise you, just because I really like this one.
Just be careful.
If you can't tell, we all like this game, which is very, very clear, is it not?
It is. It is.
All right. I call a vote that I will leave my numbered rating at the end.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give this one a 9.
That's pretty high praise for you.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 9.1.
All right. So I love this game. I'm going 9.8.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll tell you this, not only so it is super high up there for favorite solo games. It's definitely my favorite trick-taking game, period.
Awesome.
And that's no understatement. I love ForNorthwood. I think ForNorthwood, if you enjoy solo gaming, you need to play ForNorthwood. You're doing yourself a disservice if you have not played it yet, because it is on point. It does everything right. It gets me excited to talk about it, excited to pitch it to people. Just, it's got so many things going for it. It's such a small box. It's so easy to set up. It's so inviting. It's so straightforward, and it's so damn challenging. I love everything about ForNorthwood,
but it's challenging without it not being. It's not like it's unobtainable. That's the thing. So
no, it's not. No, it's so close.
Yeah,
you're constantly going to be that one.
That's why that triumph and tragedy is real, man.
Oh yeah,
there's that point.
One round away.
Yeah,
one round. I can do it.
Yeah,
and then that frustration when you don't hit 20 makes you go right back and say, "All right, I got to do one more time."
It's very hard to curse at those woodland creatures, but I got close. I got really close, man.
Oh man, but yeah, definitely agree. So 9.1, and a 9.8. So yeah, all 9 and above, which is has it ever happened since we started doing the reviews on Call Aboard?
Until now.
I don't know that I've given any game.
I don't think you've given anything a 9.
A 9 that in the time that we've been reviewing stuff on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Because we really started doing the review in this kind of format since Call Aboard. So yeah, definitely I'd say it's the highest rated amongst the 3 of us at this point. That's for sure.
Easy to get to the table, right? That's the thing too.
It's got so much going for it.
So simple. It has everything going for it. You're
yeah.
Right. I'm 9. Maybe I'll
wait. Tyler dropping some wisdom. If you sleep,
there you go.
Fit in the box. I've
There
sleep.
See it.
Oh man.
More reason not to.
Yeah,
man.
it's fine. Just
support your local publisher, because I think they're selling it directly themselves on Amazon.
Oh, for real?
I think so.
I think so.
That's
I believe
cool.
you might be right. Worth checking that one, but
maybe I'm wrong.
If you get a chance, I highly recommend this. I know the Nerd Shelves is in the house. Michael, I'd say if you all have a chance to even just play this together, just as a team on your channel, it's one that I think would play really well. It's visually looks great. So definitely one I'd recommend. And honestly, just play this game. It's what I'm going to tell people. So yeah. And again, for me, when a game is not just designed, when a game is not just meets its intent, but meets its intent, fits everything, like fits so well in the package. And I don't mean the physical package, but everything that they've packaged into the game mechanically, just as well as this. I mean, it stands out for that reason. So, but yeah, yes, good answer.
Oh yeah.
With that, this has been Call Aboard. I do want to bring up, just so people know, as we're looking at the next few weeks, we'll get these all on the calendar on YouTube, so you'll see it. But we're going into July, which has 5 weeks in it. So we've got a few things planned. We're going to have double weeks, 2 weeks in a row with some games, followed by a Monday edition of Call Aboard. In all likelihood, it looks like, just because summer months, Foo Fighters concert, other things, whatever. Followed by another game, followed by Call Aboard. And game-wise, I will just let you all know what we are going to be playing is a review copy of Decorum. We're going to come back later in the month with Decorum, and it's with the expansion. So we're going to introduce you to Decorum, and then we're going to introduce you to Moving Out. So first we're moving in, and now we're moving out. So we're going to get those Floodgate games had provided us those review copies, so we're looking forward to that. And Ryan, I believe we have something special. So next week we're looking at Decorum, but the week after that is something special for you.
Yeah, it is. But I need to clarify one thing with the date, because I might have an obligation that day. But
okay.
But if everything is okay, we will be playing my 6th favorite board game of all time, El Grande. Yeah,
with 5 players, because that is the way we play it.
Of El Grande at 5 players.
The grandest grande.
The grandest of the grandes.
The grandest of the grande.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back, Call Aboard. So, but we'll make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, so you can see the full details as we upload those videos. Or if you're on our Discord, definitely going to see them there as well. But we've got July pretty much mapped out, and come back with some reviews at the end of the month. But with that, I say thank you to everybody for coming aboard the Tabletop Express tonight. This has been Call Aboard, and we'll be back next week with Decorum. Music. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.